know, we get three different generations
She's starting to look more
of
like
cousins. You know, we got the senior table over there with Dickie and Jackie and Denise.
Well, she didn't like that.
Then we've got, well, my generation, and then the junior generation with Jeff and Brian and Timmy. So three different generations. That's cool.
Their kids.
Max and Charlie.
Oh, yeah.
Max and Charlotte.
Four generations.
Four, yeah, make it four, yeah. Yeah.
Wow. We're gonna do a cognitive skills test.
There are some,
I got some questions
there's
here.
some tote bags on the tree over there. Please, everyone, grab one.
Of the cousins.
Of the cousins, yeah. And there's a couple little ancestry tidbits in it, so please grab one on your way out.
It'll have your name on it.
Yeah, they all had, yeah, your name was on it. We asked all the cousins to have some kind of a story or memory or something to share with the group. So we'll start with the oldest and work our way down.
Okay.
This is an optional thing, right?
We'll see. Maybe.
Oh, yes.
For those of you that don't know me, my name is Cloutier. My dad is Laurier, actually. But we like to be known as Larry. People back home, that's how we knew him. I also have a brother who is 3 years and 8 days younger than me. His picture is there. It's a blown-up picture. He passed away from leukemia when he was 12. Mom never got over that, as any parent would. And I think if I lost one of my kids, I'd be the same way. My fondest memories of coming up to Maine from Hartford, my parents moved to Hartford, Connecticut when I was 5 years old. And no, I don't live in Connecticut anymore, I live in Massachusetts. However, everybody got really concerned when my mom, let the people in Maine know that Mary and I had moved to Massachusetts. They envisioned Boston or something. We were 10 minutes away from Mom and Dad, because Enfield, Connecticut, where Mom and Dad live, is on the border of Massachusetts. We lived in East Long Meadow, also on the border, opposite East Enfield. So we were close, 10 minutes away. My fondest memories of coming to Lewiston when I was younger, and we would come quite often. Matter of fact, Mom told me when we moved to Hartford, Connecticut, I was 5 years old, my brother was 2. The first few years, Mom and Dad would come up here almost every weekend. Dad worked a second shift job for Royal Typewriter in Hartford, Connecticut, and when he would get home out of work at 11 o'clock, they'd pack up the car and they'd come up to Lewiston for the weekend, going back home on Sunday, because they were both homesick. But one thing my dad said, he never regretted making the move to Connecticut, but he enjoyed coming up here and visiting with family. My fondest memories are of camp, and especially Pepe, because God knows I didn't inherit his genes of patience. He was the most patient man I've ever known. He would take my brother and I, because he worked at that point in time when he had the camp, he was working second shift, so he didn't have to go to work until early afternoon. He would take us out fishing and untangle the line, and 10 minutes later be untangling the same line. And he never raised his voice or said anything. He just enjoyed his time with us. And we probably didn't appreciate it as much. Like I say, my brother passed away when he was 12. I wish he was here now. He really enjoyed this, you know. I'm supposed to pass this on to the next.
I'm next in line. My thing is,
Troublemaker in the family.
my story is about camp too, and a lot of you are too young to even remember or even know about camp. So let me explain what camp was. Camp was on Lake Sabatis, and it was a camp. No running water, no bathroom. Little outhouse in the back. First floor, it was a 2-story. First floor was one big living room, dining room, congregating area. There was a wood stove there. Pepe used to keep the wood stove going. Summer or winter, it didn't matter. It was wood in the stove. There was a little kitchen off to the side with a hand crank pump. That was the water supply. Upstairs, it was supposed to be 2 bedrooms, but it was just one big room with a wall, no door. 2 beds in each room. So my man and Pepe, they slept in one bed, in one room. And whoever was left in the family at home would sleep in the other room. So we had Uncle Claude and Uncle Jerry would sleep in one bed. Aunt Janine had the other bed. And because I spent a lot of time there, so I would bunk in with Aunt Janine. So the way it used to go on work days, when the 3 had to go to work, it would start around 4 o'clock in the morning because Uncle Claude, he went to work early. So it would start around 4 o'clock and my man would come into the room. Claude, time to get up, time to go to work. Yeah. She'd go back to bed. 5 minutes later, she'd back. Claude, time to go to work. Yeah. After 5 minutes, she never came back in the room. She'd yell from the other room. Claude, time to get up. Yeah. So this went on for about 20 minutes to a half hour. He'd finally get up. So we'd have peace for 10, 15 minutes. Then it would be, Jeanette, time to get up, time to go to work. Yeah. So this went on, and then it was Janine. So this went on for probably an hour. And they'd all go back to work. One of the other things, we had 2 Janines in the family, one on each side. It was Aunt Janine, and I have a Janine on my father's side of the family. And she was visiting camp, and Aunt Janine was there too. And we used to differentiate the 2 in our family. We never called them by their last name. It was the big Janine and the little Janine. And you can imagine which one was the little Janine. So anyway, Aunt Janine's going to give me a piggyback. This was, I can tell you, it was the last week in August 1953. And I know that for a fact because I was starting 1st grade the following week. So she's going to give me a piggyback. Well, I'm getting ready to jump up on her back, and the other Janine is behind me, gives me a boost. Up I go over Aunt Janine's head, down over on the other side, broke my collarbone. My first week of 1st grade was in a sling. So that's about it for me. Terry, I think you're up next. All right.
Well, I have a couple, 2 quick ones. And I'm not sure I would call them fondest memories. Coming from the big city of Des Moines, when we came and stayed on Knox Street, it always completely boggled our minds that Dad had to go down into the basement to turn on the hot water. Correct? Yeah, do you remember that? Yeah.
Vaguely.
Well, that sticks out in my, and even as long as Grandpa Cloutier was alive, they had to do that. It was something. My other memory is not also so fun. When Grandpa Cloutier died back in 1959, Dad, being the oldest, accompanied Grandma. We were in the main car, the Cadillac that rode behind the hearse, and as a 11-year-old, I thought, whoa, this is like something, not a really good memory, but, and then never has it left my mind that at that Mass, Jerry, because Dolores was next in line, the Roys were behind us. I probably never told Jerry this. I turned around, Jerry was crying, and I started crying too.
We were all there, we were all in line.
I know. So, anyway, not real fine memories, but some memories.
Okay, Joanna's next.
That's right.
Just to follow up on her story, we were all sitting there crying. And to follow up on my brother's story, at the camp, those of you that have been there know how it was made, but they had a nice little beach that we would swim on. And along the side of the beach, there were rocks. And one of my favorite things to do was to jump on the rocks. And we did that frequently, and I was told frequently, don't do that, you're gonna fall. Well, there was this one big rock, and it had a little corner cut out on it so that you could sit on it. But it was taller than the next rock. So one day I went on down to the end of the row of rocks. Coming back, I went to jump up on that rock, and my head still had the evidence. Hit that rock, and I can remember Uncle Bert was there, and they had a dog. What was the dog's name? Remember? Anyway, they had a husky or German Shepherd, maybe. And they kept saying, maybe she should go to the hospital. No, she'll be all right. And they wanted the dog to lick my wound. That one I just have to think about today. The other one.
Stop right there. Going back to the rocks,
Okay.
there was one time, the two of us were on that big rock, and we were all dressed, we weren't in our swimsuits or anything. And Joanne gave me just a slight little shove.
No.
And
I didn't do that.
just to get her into trouble, I jumped in the lake and got all wet. I don't know if she remembers that, but
Did you get me in trouble?
I jumped in on purpose.
Your confessions, let's go. Never mind the stories, I want confessions.
Did I get punished for that?
Yeah, I think you did.
Thanks.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, continue.
Well, when I read Jerry's text about having a memory, there was only one thing that immediately popped in my mind. And what birthday was it?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay. It was Mom's birthday. I don't think everyone was there,
I think we were.
but I know Uncle Roger's family was all there. And it was a beautiful day. We were celebrating her birthday. We ate outside. And Uncle Claude, who made very beautiful and delicious cakes, had made a cake for Mom's birthday. So when we were ready for the cake, Dad went into the house to get the cake. And when he was coming back down the steps, he kind of stumbled. And his quick thinking made him grab the cake from the top so it wouldn't fall. So the cake was all pretty well cut up by the time we came. It was very good. I don't have a picture of that cake. I know there is a picture.
It's here.
Oh, is it in there? I didn't see it. I know I have a picture of the family, together, but I didn't have a picture of the cake. I'm glad somebody's got a picture of the cake. Who's next?
Madeline's.
It's over there.
Oh, no.
Okay, one of my fondest memories about the cabin was when, I don't know how old I was, but Uncle Gerald took me out fishing, and he was teaching me how to cast. And I went and tried to cast it, and the hook. I was mortified. I don't know, I was really young, I think. But, and then the other one was, my parents sent my brother and myself. I was 19 and he was 16, and this was back in, I don't know what year, but anyway, up here.
Count back.
What?
Count back.
Count
How
down.
old you are now, you can count back.
Want to show Anyway, sent us up here to represent the family for a wedding. So that was a special time. And then I'm going to turn it over to my brother who's next in line. He's going to finish that story.
George would be next in line, but Paul has already filled us in
Okay.
on George. So
Okay.
Roger, you're up next.
All right. I'm gonna finish that story
That's okay.
for you young kids. I honestly never had a drinking problem until I came here when I was 16.
See, Kathy?
Are you listening? My life was good until my sister came up here. There's no reason on God's green earth that my dad would let my sister and I come up here alone. So we were in a state of shock all by ourselves. But I do remember Uncle Roy being quite generous with me as a 16-year-old. And I think some of the other uncles got involved with it. All I remember, it was a quick 3 days, and it was a lot of fun. I said a couple of years ago when I was here that us Midwest Cloutiers, who went a little bit further away from home when my dad left, one of the things that was always important to him was to make sure that he stayed connected to me. And it's a little emotional, but he brought us up that way, and it's always been great for the families to come back here. You guys have always been so generous. One of the other memories, I'm sorry, Kathy, it has to do with drinking.
I didn't start drinking till I got into this family.
I want to call BS on that one.
I want to liven it up a little bit before you take over, because then we won't get this. So, Uncle Roy and Dolores and Janine, and we call her Grandma. I think you guys call her May. They made a trip to Des Moines to see us. I think it was one of the first times that she had been brought to Iowa. It was a big deal. It was vacation time for Uncle Roy. And he packed his bags with a lot of tall boy Narragansetts. And we were shocked when he got unpacking his stuff for vacation. Probably pretty clear that my dad wasn't going to have that on hand. And Janine certainly was a participant. That's it. Dan, or who's now?
I don't know how I can talk any of these stories so far, but I'll start with the latest comment. I'm glad my dad wasn't traveling in these times. Because the baggage fees was just killing me. So, yeah, you know, I just, so many memories that go back. All started, I remember George going to his funeral. Such a sad thing. I was only like 5 or 6 years old, so I vaguely remember it. But I do remember great summers where his dad would come up with Paul and his mom. We'd have cookouts on Gosnell Street. Your family, Roger, Terry, Ellen, Dan, always some great get-togethers. You guys pretty much covered all of that. And I don't have a lot to say about memories because I think you guys, we all have the same great memories, which is great. But I do want to just take this opportunity right now, acknowledge Uncle Jerry.
Yes.
And on the flight of May and Jerry, where Jerry's been doing a lot of work with Honor Flight, volunteering since he's gone on it. And have a hand around that, get the call for that. On it, especially thank Jerry for putting this all together. He put a lot of work in it. I just want to say thanks for Joanne for coming. And a lot of fond memories of growing up. I kind of had the best of both worlds because I was like, I was quite a bit younger than them. I won't say how much younger, but just quite a bit. But anyway, so I had a brother and a sister, and then when I was just my early teens, they kind of moved out, so I kind of had the benefit of being an only child. So I kind of had the best of both worlds, but they always, as young as I was, I was a pain to them, they always took care of me. Thank you.
memories are great. I don't really have one that stands out and is worthy of a story, I don't think. Maybe some will come to me. But I thought I'd take the opportunity to tell you something about my dad, your Uncle Roger, or great Uncle Roger, that I'm pretty sure you don't know. And the reason I'm pretty sure you don't know this is I found out that Roger, my brother, didn't even know this up until a couple months ago. So when I was in high school and was starting to look at colleges to go to, I was pretty sure I wanted to go to Iowa State University. And my dad said to me, he goes, oh yeah, I spent a lot of time there, working there a while back. And I said, oh, really? I didn't know that. And he said, yeah, back when I worked on the Manhattan Project. And I said, wait a minute, you mean like the World War II, developed the atomic bomb, Manhattan Project? And he said, yeah. And I said, okay. He had been in the service in the war, been in Guam and other places in Hawaii, and I said, when did you do this? And he said, 1948. I said, the bomb was dropped in 1945. He said, yeah. And he was kind of just playing me along. I'm like, okay, what's the story? What's the story here? Well, the story was that during the war, that project, any money that they needed, they got from the government, right? There was no expense was spared. A few years after the project was over, somewhere in the government, maybe Congress, decided we need to know how much that cost. Now, Iowa State University had been involved, they had a professor there who had been involved in working on refining uranium. So they had played a role in the Manhattan Project. So they hired accounting firms all across the country to go to these places and do some accounting to figure out how much money was spent. And our dad was a new member of his accounting firm, and I guess somebody thought this was going to be kind of a boring job. So they tapped him, and for many months he spent every day going to Iowa State University and just tallying up how much money that was spent. So the reason I'm telling you this is so that you too now can say that you are related to somebody who worked on the Manhattan Project. You can choose, if you wish, you can choose to leave off the fact that he wasn't a physicist, but he was an accountant. And then he worked on it 3 years after the project was over. You can still say that. So, anyway, just something I thought I would share just because I knew that most of you didn't know that.
Very nice. Dan,
John.
You didn't tell me.
John, come in.
I can't use the mic because I'm too bashful. I can't stand up. Getting back to what Mark says, I mean, I got fond memories, but I'm the third from the bottom, so it's even worse to me than Mark. What cousin 1, 2, and 3 said, I don't think I was born, so I can't relate to any of those. But I do remember Uncle Roy dropping that cake that my father made. I didn't think I was born for that. Right? So I'm glad I'm here. I'm glad everybody's here. Love you all.
Wait, Mike, get it.
Don't look at it in the eye.
So as the second one, just about my first memories were when somebody from Iowa used to come over, and my dad would explain that he had a brother, Roger, that moved over there. And I was always dumbfounded because, like, all my cousins on my mother's side, they're my age, and all these people who showed up, they were so much older than I was. I'm like, how is that your cousin? I could never understand that.
I wouldn't have said that.
But the first time I remember everybody getting together was unfortunately when Cloutier's funeral. I was 8, and I remember being in the backyard of going to the yard. And that's the first time all of you were like, together. And the first time I think I met the West Virginia. But it was, overall it was great. You always used to come at different times so we would see bits and pieces. And even then, when I was a couple of kids, like, we have this whole group of people that live out in Iowa. And that's how we ever get to Iowa. They don't really so far.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very similar. I just remember this mixed, seemingly family. There was, Roger in Iowa. He went to college. That was like, wow. That was the uncle, and then he would visit. and there was this older uncle in Connecticut that would show up with grapefruit-sized pockets of change. And would just throw change. And honest to God, I paid $10 every time he visited. And then just how to put it all together, like who's related to who and who's out there. You know, how the ages are just so different because we're kind of a mixed, generation from the local people as the Midwesterners and everything. But I think it was a nice blend of everything for everyone. I didn't realize it was the youngest cousin.
Yeah.
I like that. There's nothing wrong with that either.
Anything from the older cousins? Uncle Jerry? Anything to add? Anything to add?
I'm not a cousin, I don't have to talk.
Get that out of my face.
How about Nikki or Jackie or anything? No? All right, well, thank you all for coming. Hang around, there's plenty more food there. Grab a bag.
I have one thing to add to that. It just when David and Michael said that, we were from Iowa way back there. I remember when we came up when we were younger, and I can't remember if it was John or Sue or who it was, but we said that we were from, no, I think it was maybe Joanne. We were from Iowa. Where is that? Is that across the ocean? And we just got very don't you study geography?
Nowhere near an ocean.
It had to be Joanne.